I think we're live again, hopefully. Are we live again or no? We are live again. All right, sweet. All right, we're live. Back to public again. I have a hard time getting I have a whole nother stream set up, but I have to find a way to move things from one layout to the other, and I still haven't figured that out yet. Okay. Missed the target to the upside by a few ticks. See if we can catch one more upside move here. Still waiting on a roll. And we're raising our low target. You might get one more down there. A little bit of excess right there. Also note that we have 560, 562. And it is end of the month. 550 would be an appropriate place, or 550 or 555 would be an appropriate place. Maybe even 560, 562 for end of month. Ford coming out and saying, Jim Farley is saying, says White House executive order softening auto tariffs was helpful, but wants more changes, according to CNBC. So if you are a member or a supporter, if you're a supporter, pro, trader, whatever, nothing has changed from our last brief. You will get a new brief today, but nothing has changed. It's the same. Good money, right? What do we got here? I missed some news for you guys here. Bessent saying Trump has created negotiating leverage and leadership. Or I got a few things to let you in on. Hold on here. Let me go lower here in the time frame. Trump saying, I think we're doing great. I told you about that, what Greer said. Trump said, one big, beautiful bill. Maybe bigger than tariffs. Trump's us. Treasury Secretary Bessent saying, Trump has created negotiating leverage and leadership. Bessent goes on to say, we're on the verge of becoming an AI superpower. Saying IRS revenues are up. Trump then goes on to say Bessent is doing a great job. Finance Minister from Quebec saying, I don't see tariffs on power exports to U.S. Ford CEO saying the company is to delay vehicle price hikes to see what rivals do. We should get government credit for exports. Jim Farley goes on to say there's a lot more work to do in tariffs. It's essential for U.S. policies to encourage exports as well as reward companies. NVDA CEO Jensen Huang warns China is not behind in AI, counter to what the White House is saying. Jim Cramer says the recent trim to our NVIDIA position was for days like this. Musk saying Musk has been a tremendous help. Trump says Musk has gone on to say Musk has been a tremendous help and is invited to stay as long as he wants. Musk wants to get back home to his cars. Trump says. Airbus saying U.S. assembly lines are exposed to 10% tariffs on large sub-assemblies. What else we got here? I got someone saying that NVIDIA is a sell. Trump trade advisor Navarro brushes off GDP drop. We really like where we're at now. U.S. stock market indices fell on the news of the decline in GDP. Bullshit. Trump blames Biden after U.S. economy shrinks in first 3 months of his presidency. What else we got here? India shuts down airspace between Pakistani-run flights because of the war potential. Trump, I'm not taking credit or discredit for the stock market. The stock market is an indicator. Stock markets show how bad's a situation we inherited. The next quarter also shows Biden. The stock market is a mere indication. That's all Trump. Besant on the minerals deal. Our side is ready to sign. The Ukrainian side made some last-minute changes. We're ready to sign this afternoon. If Ukraine is, no changes on our side. Trump says we're looking for rare earth all the time. Trump on the mineral deal. We have American people at presence at site, ready to sign. The Bank of Canada minutes. The governing council was split over whether to cut rates or hold steady. The members were favoring no change, wanted to gain more information on U.S. tariffs, and backed a wait-and-see approach. Members favoring a cut said the bank would have the flexibility to reduce rates further as long as medium to long-term inflation expectations remained anchored. BOC goes on to say the members favoring a cut cited muted near-term inflation risks and signs that the economy was weakening. The members favoring no change felt another cut could be premature given upward pressure on inflation from tariffs can come quickly. Members agreed to maintain a robust survey and outreach plan for better understand real-time help. Bullshit, more bullshit, more bullshit. While there are differences in views, everyone agreed that there's a great deal of uncertainty and the situation could change quickly. Trump, Canada's PM Carney called me yesterday and said, let's make a deal. I think we'll have a great relationship with Canada. Canada's PM Carney will come to the White House week. China is having tremendous difficulty. China ships loaded up, much of which we don't need. China is the leading candidate for chief ripper offer. That was all Trump. Trump concludes remarks at the cabinet meeting. Elon Musk bids farewell. Sort of to the Trump cabinet. Claims Doge saved $160 billion. $150 billion as of yesterday. Maybe it was an extra $10 billion, but I guess they didn't save $2 trillion, did they? And he hasn't discussed what they've cost either. From the numbers that I've seen, they've actually cost more than the $150 billion they've saved. So Elon Musk being introduced to the quagmire, that's our bureaucracy. Let's see here. the U.S. has been proactively reaching out to China through various channels, seeking to negotiate on tariff issues. That is Yu Yuan Tantian, a Weibo account affiliated with state-run China Central Television. The post cited unidentified people with knowledge China doesn't need to negotiate with the U.S. until the Trump administration takes meaningful moves first. So Trump has been trying. So ready for this? China is not reaching out to Trump. Trump is reaching out to China. The U.S. is taking the initiative to contact China through multiple channels in hopes to discuss tariffs. China can force out the U.S.'s intentions through contact. Now, Trump did say today that IP was one of his things. In that depression brief that I gave to you, if you recall from that brief, I said to you specifically that there are no demands defined by the United States of America for China to not meet. And until those definitions of why we're at war are discussed, China has no reason to respond to the United States. That is playing itself out today, by the way. From the perspective of negotiations, the U.S. must be the more anxious party at present. At present, the Trump administration is facing multiple pressures, the first of which is economic pressure, and the second is public opinion pressure. Tan Zhu believes that before the U.S. takes any substantive action, China has no need to talk to the United States. However, if the U.S. hopes to contact China, it will not be bad for China at this stage. China needs to observe and even force out the U.S.'s true intentions and take the initiative in negotiations and fighting. That's more tit for tat, right? We talked about laddering in that brief. If you understand warfare and how it is waged, all of this will make sense to you if you read that brief. It's now 2:34 in the afternoon. We're going to do a public expectation for after the bell today. If you're a member, you already have these expectations for reports after the bell. Oh, that looks like shit. Why does that look so terrible? I can't read that. Anyways, after the bell today, let me see if I can get a better thing. That's my monthly calendar. There we go. It's a better one. Hang tight here, guys. It just looks like shit. After the bell today, we get Microsoft earnings, Meta earnings. You should have those charts in the Discord or on the website if you want to know what the expectations are. We also have Robinhood reporting, Qualcomm reporting, Greenblatt, Albemarle, Anali, CP, Pilgrims, and Sprouts. And then tomorrow before the open, we get Lilly, Roblox, CVS, McDonald's, Sirius, MasterCard, Baxter, Builders First Source, Moderna, Quanta. Thursday, after the bell, we get Amazon, Apple, two huge ones, right? Then we get Riot, Reddit, Airbnb, Altazian, Twilio, Roku, and AIG. On Friday, before they open, we get Fubu, Exxon, AES, Chevron, Apollo, Brookfield, Cigna, Magna, Brookfield, and American something or other. I can't read shit on this thing that I'm reading here. But after the bell today, we've got two major reports. We're going to look at both of those this afternoon here. So we're past Google. First, we're going to look at Meta. Oh. Hang tight here. I got some beeps coming in my phone here. I got to answer this. Ah. There we go. All right, Meta. We've been giving you expectations throughout earnings. We're going to give you some expectations for today for both of these major reports. Yeah, we're on hot stocks, right? Yeah, we're good right now. There we go. Looks like we only have up to go, boys. Look at that right there. Whew. Let's look at daily velocity here. Daily velocity looks good on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, neutral on a weekly basis. Daily basis looks positive. On a 4-hour basis, we're kind of littered down here, aren't we, with... And there's a gap down here. Do you see this gap? This is the thing that bothers me about this market. Do you see this gap? It's like all over the place. Gap, 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 gap city. Not gap city, but this gap down here in particular. It still implies I'm going to keep that one yellow down here because let's be honest. Let's be honest. Bad report. We're going down here to sweep all this, right? I mean, let's be honest. Trade is dead, right? If we're going to do another trade here for Meta, let's say they fail, right? You know we'd be down. Well, you know we'd be up here, down, right? Break below. Sweep all this, right? We would sweep this whole move at some point. More than likely. Right? 1, 2, and 3. We might even go deeper. That's just begging for a sweep down here. The dip buy is down there. We know that. There's a nice gap to close above. Meta today has an implied move of 7.3%. So that's fairly in line. Do you see that? That's 7.3%. So failure to close the gap. Downside move of 7.3% is Right about there. It's all priced in. You see it almost to perfection. If you look out on Meta, May 30th, the implied move is 7.3 and 10.5. The implied move May 30th is 10.5%. So for right now, at least, for Meta, there's an implication that if we hit the upside target today and they're on a good report, that it's still at some point going to come down here and hit this lower target, up, and away. All of this so far is accounted for in the options market with Meta. So if you were going to get bullish on Meta, you would need to see the 7.3% high and then a successful back test, wouldn't you, with a new high? And that would then change the options market, right? Does that make sense? You want to do away with all this? Until that proves itself, we're perfectly aligned for the outcome to the downside and to the upside. And traders have not moved their expectations above 590 on Meta. If that makes better sense to you. We would need positioning to be rolled to the upside for any kind of outcome like this one right here, where we actually go higher, and then we change or we roll options to the upside. And even if we did, say we go up here in a good report, you're all getting long for this move, then they swoop down and then hit us higher. Let me just check these. Let me just check this. These expectations. This implied move here. Excuse me. Where is the fuck the pivots at? There we go. Show the pivots. If you want to trade this after the bell, almost perfect. Look at that. Perfect. I don't know why those are all red, though. I should change those to yellow and then red. We have the monthly you will not pass. Expectations for Meta. Quick sleep lower. This is after the bell. Maybe I'll just do it like this. Lower after the bell, but this is brief. Okay. I've got Meta as sell the news. Just want to check one more thing here. Okay. Maybe not sell the news. Man, that would help right there, wouldn't it? What is that? 523? It's kind of like a there's like a crux here. There's a halfback trade that never happened here. There's a gap down below. That right there. Thursday. That's kind of wonky here. My initial expectation, Meta's a tough one here. Meta's got a lot of landmines in it. This is a tough call. I think it's possible you get this like whole move right away today. and then like an immediate rotation into maybe Amazon. We're still very light in market. I want to hope that this would last into Friday, but I don't know if that's the case. If we can go up here and hit this today, it would be down by Friday. I gotta do it like this because I'd like to see this take place into Friday. Sell the weekend and come back next week for another dip down below. This is if everything works out. But I could definitely see it moon like after the bell and then a rotation out of it tomorrow. If that's the case, you would come up here and then we would do like a series of rolling down over the weekend. And then a dip buy to go higher on Monday. Just above 520, 521.97. There is more to say, though, in this. If there's a trap for bulls in this market, it's down here at this excess. It can't go any lower. And we'll keep that there. This is a tough one to call. They did Trump did give a pump to AI, and Meta's in the AI trade. I did post the chart inside of that would also, that doesn't necessarily pump SPY or Qs. It pumps SPY and Qs, but not the way that you're thinking. It would still come back. Like SPY and Qs would they would pump after the bell, but they would more than likely give up those gains by open tomorrow. The target on SPY would be like after the bell would be 553, maybe a new high at 557 after the bell. I don't know if we can get a 560 today. Maybe. We'll watch this one after the bell. Do we get the 560, 562 today if we get the upside hit on Meta? I don't know. I would think it would take into Friday to get to 562. So maybe a failure of 560 and then the 562 on Friday. That's if Meta gives a good report. And all we need is one bad report where it goes to shit. And not only that, there's still this like whole pricing in of this downside move. And that goes lower than 520. It goes to 5 or 498. So you might as well just close the gap if you're down there, right? That's what I would think. You just fucking close that goddamn gap. Be done with it. I think that's what we're looking at. See if there's anything I'm missing here with Meta. Maybe I'm missing something with Meta. I don't know. Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Apple. They're not all going to report well, right? Give me a second here. What would take us down? What would take Amazon, or would Amazon take us down? That's what would take us down. Amazon's going to take us down. Fucking Amazon. It's got to be Amazon. Who else could it be? Maybe it's Amazon that takes us down and runs us higher? Well, Amazon looks pretty good. Unless they're trying to kill Amazon, maybe? Like this, if Microsoft Meta report well, that would send Amazon higher. Or does that just mean that Amazon's report is bad, and that would take down Meta later in the week? What else do we have? Apple reporting Friday. That's a tough one. Amazon's already fulfilled what it needs to fulfill. There is a I just compare all of these. So Amazon, I'm wondering if Facebook and Amazon's completed what it needs to complete down here. Let me explain it better to you. How do I explain this better? If Amazon's completed its correction at this point, right? It makes me wonder if they all do this together. So you would get like Amazon doesn't report until Friday, or excuse me, Thursday close. But if Amazon reported, if Facebook theoretically, if Facebook and Amazon did their thing, you would see Amazon pump, and then you would see that move into Friday, and then the downside move. So this would be like today for Amazon, like Facebook would lift Amazon up. Then you would say like a little bit of a reaction for Thursday, but then down. So you would get Facebook would pump up here already, sell out of Facebook, rotate into Amazon for the second pump. Delayed reaction. And let's look at Microsoft really quick. So here's Amazon, something like this. Or not Meta, MSFT. Let's look at Microsoft really quick. It's like you have the pump from Microsoft. They would join in on Thursday. So how about I say it like this? Let me say it like this. Meta drives the market on a good report. Microsoft, you'll get a small reaction in their release today, but not the full. They'll pull back into Thursday. They'll get a second leg up from the Amazon report. And Apple, I'm just going to draw it like this. Microsoft's going to print right here. They're going to come back down for Thursday. First Thursday, 1600. And you're going to get an extra pump and then down. This is kind of Microsoft end of day today. You're going to get a sell the news though on the weekend, Monday. Come back for sell the news on Monday. This is Microsoft. I just did Meta. But then Apple. Got the new high. Apple would report on right there. Apple reports on Friday at here's Friday 1600. This is the open for Friday close. For Friday close. No, hold on a second here. I got the wrong days here. 1600. I think they're going to kill Thursday's. I think that they kill. We're going to have bad news over the weekend. We're getting bad news over the weekend. I don't know what it is. Something's going on over the weekend. Monday morning doom. I don't know what it is. Monday, Tuesday doom. I don't know what it is. These are going to be used for this upside move. The reason I'm looking at all of these together is because one should instigate the other. So if you get like a Meta and a Microsoft good report today, it would instigate the Apple trade before it happens. If you're bullish on Apple or Amazon, you want to be long today and not tomorrow, I think. Although this is the base right here. Right where we are right now is the base for that trade. You get the first pump overnight, and then you get the Friday into Monday target of 222. And then take the money and run and come back. And this should go lower. Okay, so let's look back at Meta. Okay, so a couple things here. I said Friday for Meta. I don't believe so. I think Meta goes fucking vertical after the bell. And I think that there's going to be a rotation out of Meta into Apple and Amazon for Thursday. So you should see this like sell off tomorrow at some point. I think Microsoft though catches the run and then gets a second leg up tomorrow. I don't think they moon like Meta does. And then I think that there's a rotation into Apple, and Apple should see this pump, and Amazon should see this pump, and then a rotation out of Meta for Thursday's close to slam the other two reports on close. This should result in a high in the markets between now and over the weekend, and there should be some kind of bad news weekend or Monday, and we should start selling off the markets, I would think. I don't know if that's India, Pakistan, something unknown, some Trump bullshit. I don't care what it is or what they assign to it. I think Meta goes moon. Now there is more to say on this. Just let me check these. Let me just check these one more time, okay? Man, fucking Apple's got some, Apple's got some negativity in there too. And so doesn't fucking, Apple and, man. All right, I'll say this. Yeah, there's some, it's complicated. So there's there's a setup here to there's a setup here to it's really bizarre. Okay, I think Microsoft underperforms after the bell here. And I don't think you get that high. What I do want to say to you about this though is there is a the trigger for a bad report is going to be the guidance on Apple and Amazon on Thursday close. I said event over the weekend. I don't think so. So I think if you're trading Apple and Amazon, your trade is today. And they're going to front run price on you before we get to those reports. And I think we're going to sell the news on all of this crap on Apple and Amazon's guidance. Their daily velocity looks like it doesn't look good. So I think you're going to get a delayed pump from Microsoft, and then they're going to help with the pump tomorrow on Apple and Amazon. And I think you exit. I'm very bearish after the reports on both Apple and Amazon. After the close on Thursday, I'm bearish on them. Personally. Maybe they moon. Maybe we don't sell it till Friday or the weekend, but I don't think they have the oomph they need to get up. I think Meta does, and I think Microsoft does, but I think it's all in service of helping Amazon and Apple for liquidity more than anything. bullish on both Microsoft and Meta. Upside price target on Microsoft, $399, a failure of 400. Pull back into tomorrow and then try to hit 404.08 by Thursday close. And I think I would watch out of a rotation at that point, tomorrow's close out of Meta, and I think Meta's earlier. But I think Microsoft is by end of day tomorrow. I'd be taking my money and run. And I'm not really concerned, but this is where my concern is. Apple. It's like twofold. I have concerns still with Apple. They're making more. See this right here? This is kind of weak. Hourly is weak. Daily is starting to put in some shitty lows. So you can front run price for Apple. Same thing's going on with Amazon. You like front run price, and then you get out before you get to their guidance. Where like Amazon starts fielding questions about putting tariffs on their website and shit, and Apple starts talking about $30,000 fucking cell phones to panic people. So I think there's a front run here on Apple and Amazon that starts today. And that nobody fucking cares what they say in their guidance by the time we get into it on Thursday close. So I'd expect Meta to lead that way. What does that mean for you here, I guess? This is Monday right here. I think we're front running it. You could even move this over. You could move this over to it's like Friday. You could even where's Friday? I mean, you could move this shit. I mean, here's 1600 on Friday. But we could easily move this over like today. Like today, tomorrow. We could move this into like Thursday. Like right there. It doesn't even need to last until Monday. I'm not saying it's going to happen that quick, but it's price or time, but this could happen violently quickly and then just get out before we ever get to the guidance from Apple and Amazon. Just be aware of it, that it's there mechanically in the background. There's that 560, 562, actually higher, right there. I'll give you till Monday for this. Monday open, 562.5. I want right there. Yeah, beat that one or fight that one there. Then beat the high right there. It's sold on 560, then break above for the other one. This could be front run. It's possible. It's possibly front run all this shit now, and then we don't even worry about it. At any rate, time or price. I'm finding it hard to believe that, or from what I'm looking at, like I think Amazon and think Amazon and Apple's guidance is going to be the thing that leads us lower. There's some kind of selling the news there. I don't know what it is. Maybe front run. Front running. If you're looking for a dip by the way, into the close, it's right here. These green boxes. There's like this, I think Meta drives the market higher. Watch me be wrong in this. Here's my take. You want my take? You should see a slice down in Meta before we get into the bell. Just say a few. Let's start at the top here. Okay, so if you want to trade this synthetically, Meta should have weakness after the bell, but I think it resolves to the upside. I think you're going to smash it out of the park with Meta. I think Microsoft will have a good report, good guidance, and they'll just drive up. And I think they'll have more continuation tomorrow. I think that'll help hold up and front run Amazon and Apple. But I do think that after those two reports on Thursday's bell, you're going to get bad guidance. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's like, I know there's fighting in the background with, did you guys know, maybe you guys do or don't know about this, but Amazon memo leaked that they were going to post tariffs on all their products. Now, mechanically speaking, what's happening in the background of the economy right now is if you buy direct from China, you're being hit with a tariff bill immediately. Right now, do. So if I order from China, it's an automatic tariff. So if I'm a seller of products from China, what I am doing right now, or what I've done, is either loaded up pre-tariff on stock, and I'm selling that to you without the tariffs on Amazon, let's say. Now, if I don't have any product in stock or I didn't load up or anything, my only other choice is to start taking delivery and having to pay those tariffs on delivery. I pay this stuff right now if you don't know. Maybe I've never told you this, but I pay. So I'll tell you guys some parts of my private life. So I have a program that I run where I pay VATs around the world. If I sell something in Europe, I get a bill, and it tells me what I have to pay, what I'm accountable for. It's a very complicated process, and it's hard to keep track of so you don't fall awry of anybody or draw anyone's anger or whatever. So my point to you is this, though, is that if I have product and I'm in the U.S., prices don't go up. If I don't have product and I'm still unaware and I'm still always positive, right? They're gonna solve this, bro. They're gonna solve this tariff thing. Rather than ruin my Amazon store, I would sell out of that product for now. Does that make sense? For now. Or look for different product until having to carry the weight of those tariffs. There's a reason for that. I can't order those products and front that money, not if no one else is doing it. So like I need every other seller to be doing that at the same time. Here's your reciprocal tariff kit for that tariff shit. So there's like a everybody's watching everybody else to see if they can actually pass that price on. So let's say I've got a pencil here and it's normally $1 and it's going to go to $2.50. I need to see everybody else charging the $2.50 or I'm cut out of the market. And there's going to be a window where some people have ordered pencils and some people have not. You can't be the first person to jump on it, but the first person that does jump on it, you should see a roll into that. Like a few people start doing it, a few people decide to stop selling until other people do. Then you'll see like a roll into selling pencils now for $250, but we're not at that stage yet. Now, Amazon released a note saying that they wanted to help their sellers out. Where if let's say their sellers didn't backstock, their seller could post a product and say, hey, it's going to be, double and a half because of this tariff. And Trump got mad at that. I don't know why. Trump says it's a good thing, right? You shouldn't be mad at it, and nor should you as a buyer. You voted for this, right? You did, right? You either voted against it or for it, or you didn't vote. So if you didn't vote, go sit in the corner. If you voted for this, congratulations. You should be happy to see VATs listed, or not VATs, but a TVAT, maybe we'll call it a Trump VAT. Or if you didn't vote for this, suck it up, Buttercup. You got to be able to win and lose and enjoy and reap the benefits of that, right? But Trump reached out and told Amazon, don't do that. There will be pointed questions, is my point, in discussion about that pricing and how it's labeled or not labeled. And I did read last night, people are already designing apps so that if Amazon doesn't do it, you can put an app up and do it. You can literally put an app up that'll show the tariffs on these products. So if you're shopping on Amazon, you can see what has them and what doesn't, who has backstock, who doesn't. Now that's a problem, right? We know that tit for tat reciprocal tariffs will be an issue. You're already feeling it in Temu and Sheen and Shine and all these other fucking foreign shitcos that make shit products, cheap ass products and stuff from China. But we're not there yet, are we? We haven't realized that yet, have we? The impacts of that stuff. We will, but we haven't yet. So even the shock from that, we've actually felt some of it for where we are right now. We've actually felt it. We have recession trade on board. So if it grew worse, that would be a problem. But at any rate, I would think that if there was any volatility here into the close today or tomorrow, or any like source of doom, it's more than likely going to be Amazon and Apple in their guidance or any kind of Q&A, any kind of like discussion afterwards or stories being written that the press picks up on. The press just says, oh, yeah, they also mentioned that a cell phone could be, $6,000 or $8,000. That's real, like $2,000, $4,000. That's on deck. That's no joke. It's not today. But just that volatility to speaking about it could be negative. So I expect Apple and Amazon to be front run today after the bell, front run into their earnings. I think they are both the sell the news trade, regardless of what they talk about in their guidance or outcome afterwards. I don't care. If I was a trader, I'd be reserved and conservative and say, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to take my money and run before we ever get to their ER. So you're likely going to get a good trade like today and tomorrow on all four of these companies. And you probably shouldn't be going long at the close on Thursday for Apple and Amazon. You should try to get the front run today if you can. In my view, you would hope that they front run time on this and not wait for that to come true. Because those things can be really negative or perceived as very negative. Those are kind of things that'll stop our economy in its tracks. If we follow through with this stuff, it's going to stop the economy. There's no way around it. It's not today, but even just the discussion of that is going to panic people. if that hits the wires and hits like CNN and ABC, your like local news source, it ain't gonna be taken well. Bob on Main Street's gonna freak the fuck out. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. The less Trump says, the better. In my view, like if he just had like a blanket, and this is the real problem. If you guys should go back and read that warfare, that Great Depression brief I did, that applies to any kind of warfare. You heard it today. China basically said the same thing. Like, but China's like, just tell us, make it public, what the rules are of this war, and or not, but you're going to assume that the reason why Trump doesn't tell them all the rules is because the war can end like today. Like China can come out and say, okay, you've got these 3 or 4 points. Here's the plan to meet those things. And then trade war over. It's done. So it implies that Trump doesn't want the trade war over yet, either for time, or he doesn't want the trade war to end with a solution from China. Does that make sense? Like, he doesn't want a solution. He wants a cold war with China, or even a hot war. Like, this implies a lot. With Trump not giving defined goals for China to meet. So that implies a lot of stuff, right? Trump or Bessent or the U.S. manufacturers or CEOs, they've done enough damage and they want to continue to do damage until that relationship is done and over with. But you don't want to say it publicly. You don't want to create a fucking World War III either, right? You don't want to be like, yeah, fuck you, bro. We're done. Never again. We're done. There's going to be like a war of wills. There's a negotiation that goes on in this stuff and a fighting and laddering and all that kind of stuff. So it's a very fluid thing. It's super fluid. There's so many moving parts, and all of these things can be true and false at the same time and still work with each other. Or true now and not true tomorrow, and false today and true tomorrow, like in the inverse too. There's a lot going on. It's multifaceted. So it's tough to even believe what you're being told at the moment unless it's in service of something else. So when you hear like Trump talk today and China talk today, both of those, like if you go in Financial Juice right now and read the highlights of today's discussion and the highlights from China, all of that matches that brief. All of it does, especially the key points. Like when Trump dropped the IP thing, like if they just put that in writing, like IP, right? Like IP's one. Number 2 is we don't want you manufacturing, blowing through NAFTA. I know I know the points. I actually know them, but I know they're never going to say them all. Not officially, or not know, but there's a reason why they haven't said them all officially, and that's because they don't want the war to end, in my view, until they do. When they want the war to end, you'll hear all of those grievances aired out alphabetically in order. If they're trying to improve relations, that's what they'll do. That's what I would do. But until then, you have to assume that this is all in service of not letting the market implode all at once. That it's a process. If you go to war, you need to have ammunition, and you need to draw this thing out as long as you possibly can too, right? So, like, you don't want the stock market crashing all at once. You don't want to go to fucking zero like today. You don't want to panic anybody right away. You don't want to panic Bob on Main Street. You want to hit him once like slowly, right? This is what's happening. This is what's happening. Hope it happened. Not you wake up today and all this shit's happened, because this is all planned, right? This is not unknown unknowns. Unknown unknowns is like a terrorist attack, or unknown war. But when you plan these things out, you get to manipulate all of this stuff, right? When you're in charge, most of it. And you saw China's response today as well. Like, we don't have to do a fucking thing. Like, they don't. I said that in the brief. I'm like, they don't have to do shit. All China has to do right now is answer tit for tat. That's it. That's all they have to do. And just keep telling their people. I told you in that brief about how they lie, not lie, yeah, they lie, but everybody lies to their people. Like, you have propaganda from the U.S. to you and I. You have propaganda from China to Chinese people. You want to pay attention to what they're saying to their own people. Hey, look, we're open. You know, Trump just said this today. We just released Weeblo, I think it's pronounced. We went public and said, you know, whatever they want to say, we're here for it. So this is all normal, natural warfare and trade wars. At any rate, I wouldn't look too deeply in it. If you got that brief from me, go back and read it again after. Go back and read the stuff from today, and then go back and read that brief. It matches perfectly with where we are. So it makes sense. It sounds logical. Okay, coming into close today. It's 3:41. I expect Microsoft to have good earnings, to move higher, not stupid. I expect Meta to outperform in their earnings. I expect Microsoft to have a second bump tomorrow. I expect that we front run Apple and Amazon earnings. I wouldn't personally be long after the close on Thursday on Apple and Amazon, even if they squeeze afterwards. I wouldn't expose myself to that volatility. If I was a trader for Apple and Amazon, I'd be take my money and run before we get there tomorrow. What else? And you don't want to hear anything like that being said from those companies. You don't want those companies fighting back and being like, yeah, we're going to post, you know, you're going to get a $6,000 iPhone. Fuck you. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear Amazon saying, yeah, we're going to post, you know, that your pencil is now fucking up 300% in price, or it's not even available. And matter of fact, China's moving into sanctions right now, or there's a possibility of that. You don't want to hear any of that crap, because that's possible too. Like, even the shit with Temu today, the minimes, right? When you go, that's a Latin, I think, right? Like the minimums. Basically, I went to Catholic school. I think it's Latin for minimum, the minimum. So, you know, you could have China come out and do like Trump could remove those, and China could just go, no, I'll double it for your Temu shit. You don't get out that easy. You're not getting your small businesses a deal while you're waging warfare with us. That's always there in the background. Or maybe China does, you know, say, oh yeah, you want to do that for just these small businesses on Amazon and save your Amazon? Sure, we can do that. We'll play along, but we want some concessions for this or that. You know, it's never a free concession, is it? Whenever you hear like Trump saying, well, we're gonna like allow no like triple tariffs. I think we're at 180% in total right now. From the original tariff war that began, or dispute that began with other presidents leading up into Trump. So now that we're in open warfare, okay, so upside move. Watch out for the blood to the downside. We've actually corrected sideways, which is good to see. We hit this one earlier. We have one more lower here, but we haven't hit it yet either. We are looking to stay on track to go up. We were given time to correct with a sharp correction. That didn't happen. Staying on track for what we had planned out from this morning. Upside targets for SPY into the close. We want to do a return to the all-time high, or to the drop above the gap right here at 554.45. We also have some other targets to the upside. We've got one up here to trade this 550, or a new all-time high. Not all-time high, excuse me. How about an intra-week high at 556, 558? And we're still looking for our 560 and 562, at least by Friday, if not today into the close. I don't know if we get it today or today and tomorrow, but nothing's changed. I did a private stream earlier to tell everybody that, basically to tell everybody that who was scared at this morning to buy the bottom. I showed you guys the bottom to buy. To be looking for major lows to buy at this topping process. And what else? To look for another major low to buy, some either much lower or above the daily trigger and weekly trigger, one or the other. Squeezing higher right now, trading 521.82. Squeezing higher into the bell right now. If you're not low from this morning's low or from buying these dips down below, just wait for another pullback. We should be very volatile the next day or two as we swing high to rip out 562 and 560. If you're not long on these or any kind of excess lows, grab it until we hit 562 and then stand off the market from that point and let it do its thing. SPOO's now challenging the upside coming into the close, trading 522.15. Bullish on the close on Meta and Microsoft to some extent. I think Meta has better legs for continuation. I think, Microsoft is. I think Meta has the squeeze power to front run both of those reports on Thursday. I don't know. When it comes to tariffs and stuff, I look at this stuff like at this point, I look at it I believe Trump now. Like I believe Trump would do this his last 2 years, but not front run it. So now I see it as self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think this doesn't end. I think we get reprieves along the way, but I don't think this ends. And I think I've said this to you. I think I've said this on Twitter. When Elon says he's going back to the car business, it's because they've done so much damage that there's no recovering from it. So it's not a good thing for you when you see Elon go back to work. If you're anti-tariff or anti this thing, that was not a good look for you. If I thought there was a way back, you would see Elon still doing this. I know it seems counterproductive, but I think the damage has been done to an extent that Elon feels like there's no coming back. So he can go back to his car business, either through the deals that he's made to protect his company, the promises he's made on tariffs to not be affected, in the path of this train. Like this train isn't stopping. Even if we have minutia, like good weeks, good months, or good progress, I think you're going to find that probably their deadline is probably, I mean, we haven't talked about this much. I think we've mentioned it, but here's the one right here. This is the actual target. This is the gap you want to close right here. 53.08. You want to like I'm trying to think here. Like you've got the midterm elections. You got midterm elections and possible Trump losing power, like January of 2027. But you also have the volatility of elections before then. And like GS and JPM follow that stuff. Like who's winning, like who's going to win seats in the midterms. If it comes out that at any point that the House or Senate is going to roll or get hogtied, almost immediately you'll see no one paying attention to Trump any longer, or at least for a moratorium of listening to him. He'll lose teeth in what he can get done. His own politicians will begin to want more concessions for votes. This is normal for any party. This happened to Biden. By the time they got to the midterms, he had his own party tell him to go fuck himself. They were like, no, buddy, sorry, I want more. You're about to get all the polls say you're not going to win. So you would figure that's probably 3 or 6 months before. SPY now trading 554.27, squeezing higher right now. So you figure, I would say 6 to 3 months before then. So Trump probably is most potent from now into the summer of 2026. He's got a year and 2 months. He's got 14 months of potency. Like full on potent. Then there'll be a moratorium. And if it looks like he's maybe, or I shouldn't say there will be a moratorium. If the polls look good for Trump, he stays in power before we ever get to the midterms and potent. If there's any like, oh, you might lose both, he will lose potency until we decide the midterms. So I would think that like Elon saying going back to cars, in their view, if I was Trump or Team Trump, I would assume at this point that they think they've done enough damage that they can last and go on a repair mission. At some point, they got room to do more damage and for this stuff, and they've got room to repair relationships with voters as well between now and the midterms. So they got to front run some of this stuff some more, maybe one more like really bad shit midsummer into fall. You get like one more big push, and then you get maybe another push in the spring and summer of 2026. So 3 more total. You get the giant one. You get a giant one in the summer, fall of this year of negotiations, and then you get 2 more negotiating rounds next year, and then you're done for a bit. So I guess I have to write that stuff out and try to figure it out in my brain, but off the top of my head, just thinking about it with my voice. Trading higher now, looking for R1, 57.06. Apple squeezing higher right now, being front run ahead of schedule. Amazon being front run right now ahead of schedule. Meta, no pullbacks, squeezing higher now to the upside. We should keep going vertical into the close here. We're not done. We're going to front run all 4 of these today and tomorrow. So we're going higher. I think we're going to front run it. I can't guarantee it, but there's a high probability we front run tomorrow's reports today and tomorrow. Rotate out of Meta. Give more oomph to the other 2. Then they don't care what the reports are in those 2 companies. Sell the news. Meta trading 546.96. Looking for Meta to trade 551.09. 551.97 to be honest. And then just keep ripping. 556 will be after it. Remember, we still have targets to the upside that are still viable. We had the low this morning just after pre-market in the cash market. We never made a new low. We actually broke above the hourly and half-hour trigger as well, confirming a move higher, not lower. being the squeeze higher now, trading 555.67. Price target on SPY 557.00 right now. Target on SPX is 5,600. We're now trading currently 55.74. I said 5,600, but the target is on 56.05 on SPX. We're now trading back into the Gamma Flip again today. Coming into Gamma Flip right now. Gamma Flip is at 55.85. Price target on SPX 5605. We may encounter a little bit of turbulence up here as we slam into the Gamma Flip. Gamma Flip again is at 55.85. Could see a tap and pullback as we come up into this little red target up here. We would be looking for something to catapult us up. Also remember that volatility stays with us. So a couple things on volatility. If you look at a line, if this is negative gamma, and this is positive gamma, there's something considered neutral gamma. This is neutral gamma. And it isn't like a price point like $1. It's a price, it's a range. You still experience like if you're in like deep negative gamma, you have way more volatile moves. The moves become less volatile as we head up here into neutral gamma, but it doesn't necessarily remove volatility. So let's say we break above negative gamma to positive gamma. Don't expect immediately like slow moving markets. You can still see, big air gaps to get back up here and pound out an island. Don't be like, yeah, Cap, we're in positive gamma. Why'd we drop? Because it's not necessarily calming of market. It's beginning to calm markets. You need to go deeper into positive gamma to calm markets even more. It would be really good to even have a new high on a daily basis and then backtest that positive gamma as well. Let's just be aware that it's not cut and dry. We are rejecting briefly here the gamma flip on 55.85. Just note that. It's noteworthy. If you're looking for a place to buy the dip, it's right where this cursor is right here. Attacking a breakout once again. I'll make another note to you here. If you remember the March Q1 failure and 14% downside rejection, it was very clean. The behavior of the stock market where we are is not as clean as it was at the end of Q1. So for April, end of month, today is the last day. This looks way more productive. The past few days, actually not few days, past 2 weeks have been way more productive. Talked to you about an inverse trade on the Q1 end of month and end of quarter trade. This is more productive. Doesn't mean it happens, but just note that this is productive. You still want to be looking for major drawdowns to get long. Does not preclude waiting on the sidelines until your trade comes to you. This is also when people make their worst habits, when they break away from their rules. Stick with your rules through all of this. It's okay if you miss a trade. You don't need to be on every fucking trade. You don't need to win every goddamn trade. You don't have to have exposure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is like one of the best times to stick with your rules so you don't get poisoned with hindsight trading and recency bias. I know this time is different. I've been there. You were supposed to moon, bro. What did your rules tell you? Wait lower. All right. Stick with your rules. If you've been long since the bottom, congratulations. If you got my tweets when I told bears to stay the fuck out of the way as the bulls go higher, congratulations. Trading at now a high of 557. New high on all of these runs we've been making, these stabbing higher. The target is 562.5 on SPY when this run is complete. I would like to see even higher than that, but I don't want that in the expectations because you guys yell at me if I go too high with it. If you want to know where that target is on SPY, I think we fail this up here. Like 562 and 36, 562, 30 or 50 or somewhere in here. Maybe 564, but I would really like to see the peaking the head above the weekly. I just won't trade that. It's too dangerous to trade for right now. Down the road it's better. I think that's 566. Microsoft Q3 2025 earnings, EPS $3.46. The estimate was $3.21.
Following Microsoft shares higher after earnings, up 2%.
Microsoft beating expectations.
The Qualcomm shares falling 4% post-market after the results and forecast.
If you traded Microsoft with me and wanted to trade that huge move on Microsoft, they actually did blast out. They got even higher than I expected.
Cloud revenue, $26.8 billion.
Trading 421 to the upside on Microsoft. Microsoft cranking it out of the park. If you went long Microsoft into the bell, congratulations. There's another win. Meta is up next. Apple cranking after the bell as well. Meta cranking to 51.12. Just want to see Meta hit 581.23 before the end of the today. Congratulations if you're a Microsoft gangster like that. If you're taking your Apple trade early instead of tomorrow, I don't know what they're doing at the moment, but I'm assuming it's good. Yeah, News Squawker's not blabbing. Just waiting on Meta. I don't know what time they report, though. They might be reporting later.
eBay are coming through now with an adjusted EPS of $1.38. It's a beat on the estimate of $1.34. Net revenue $2.6 billion, a beat on the estimate of $2.55 billion.
Meta just hit its upside target of 580. Woo! Meta just smacked out of the fucking park. Hit its upside target, 581.39.
So seeing also Meta coming through as well. Meta sees second quarter revenue of $42.5 billion to $45.5 billion, compared to the estimate of $44.06 billion. The adjusted EPS of $6.43, a beat on the estimate of $5.25.
Apple pulling back from their initial pump higher after the close, but they hit their target. They should get some nice support to go higher tomorrow.
So Meta's first quarter revenue of $42.31 billion.
Apple looking good right now.
A beat on the estimate of $41.38 billion.
Amazon sharing in the early release early as well. If you're an Amazon trader,
Also,
congratulations.
Full year,
You get an early ER today.
12 to 15%.
Amazon from a low
After first quarter EPS and
week all day long, trading for the last hour from 181
additional data
to 188.91, being front run before tomorrow.
Meta's first quarter operating income of $17.56 billion, a beat on the estimate of $15.52 billion. They expect, as said, their second quarter 2025 total rev to be in the range of $42.5 to $45.5 billion. Meta sees fiscal year total expenses of $113 billion to $118 billion. They saw $114 billion to $119 billion.
Front running Gigatech earnings today. Just imagine if you had waited.
So also Meta sees fiscal year capex of $64 billion to $72 billion. They saw $60 billion to $65 billion. That's beating the estimate of $59.27 billion.
Meta now coming back down to reality. Meta hit its high at 579.95. Should see nice elevated support into tomorrow. All right, I think we've got everybody's reports here. We're just waiting on guidance. I think from Meta's at 5 p.m. So you'll be awaiting guidance at 5 p.m. on Meta. Also, be aware that SPY can pull back these gains for tomorrow's reports. Look for a dip buy down below at 550, 555. We actually have a nice little place to buy the dip down here. 553. Remember, the target for my last brief is 562. Trading 556.38. still have not hit those targets. I'll see all of you tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning.